pressed record, so now we're recording.
Recordos. Everybody take a deep breath.
You have to hold it closer to your mouth.
I'm right here.
Okay, there you go. We're just doing volume checks.
Check, check, check.
Okay. Hello, and welcome to our bonus episode for episode
36.
36. Yep, that's right. So we have all three of us here, Jenna, me, and Mark, because all three of us were on the episode, which was actually came out better than I thought. There was a lot of editing, but it wasn't as bad as I expected.
Did you listen to the whole thing through?
I did, and I expected that so it's a two-part, obviously. It was a 3.5 hour recording. But I expected that there was a lot of editing, mostly reducing our side like we went off on tangents a lot, and we stayed there for a while, like living room versus family room, what high schools are like in Chicago versus Tucson. Like we really went down rabbit holes, and we stayed there for like 20 minutes. So I did cut those and just string those together in like a montage and put it on Patreon because they were funny.
I was gonna say we could just get off now, go in the pool, and make that the bonus episode.
That's true.
I wonder if Eggleton listened to it.
Oh, it's really interesting that you remember that person's name. Remember, that's she emailed the website the bad review, which feels personal.
Well, it's just a weird name, Eggleton.
Devin, we don't know if it's a man or a woman. Devin Eggleton.
Oh,
Devin's
that's right.
not listening anymore. I'm sure of it. I'm guessing.
Was it the one that said their ears were bleeding?
No, that's on Joe and Oliver's podcast. I just use that as an example because it's funny. I'm actually going to the website right now. I haven't checked it in a while.
It sounds like your throat's bleeding.
Oh, stop it.
I was about to say my ears are already bleeding. Eggleton is how I'd say it.
Oh, look.
How did I say it?
Eggleton,
I'm kind of making it a point.
which could be correct.
So I just went to, so we have a website, guys. I'm sure I've said that. It's in our show notes. And also I apologize for my voice, but it's just deathxsouthwest.com. And so who Mark is talking about, we've talked about that in a past episode. Devin Eggleton sent an email to our website, deathbysouthwest.com. And it was like, you are the most fucking annoying people that I've ever heard. I hate you, basically. I'm paraphrasing, but basically. So I just opened up Wix again. Wix is the website host, to see if anybody else has emailed us. And Wes L sent an email 2 days ago that says, I'm sorry, I can't figure out where to leave a review except on iTunes. You asked if the current episode with all three of you was something people wanted to hear more of. I say, bring it on. The subjects you covered are not easy, and I find hosts with a sense of humor but still a sense of respect are the best. I enjoy your show regardless, but this episode after your recent loss was very refreshing.
Thanks, Elle.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wes.
Did you say thanks, L?
Yeah, Wes L.
Oh, Wes L. Okay.
I like to use the last name.
Yeah. What is the, if you have a house fire, and you
A
spray
fire extinguisher?
Thank you.
Well, I hope we don't have a house fire now. She's all, where's the doodad that does the spray bottle?
I don't need to know the name to know how to work it.
I think there's one under my kitchen sink.
That's where it should be.
All
There's
right, well,
actually
let's...
like an acronym for that. It's like point, aim, squeeze. It's sweep.
What?
Yeah,
for
so what's the S?
I forget.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Kind
a
of like
construction guy,
shoot.
kind of like rice.
No, I think I'm saying it wrong. But anyways,
I don't know what we're talking
always
about.
point at the base of the fire and then sweep it.
Okay, but I think it'd be problematic for me to even just initially figure out how to use it. I mean,
Well,
I
you
could
just
do
gotta
it.
pull
If
the
I'm
pin,
in
it's
a
like a grenade
scared
and hit it.
moment.
Doosh.
Oh, okay.
Why are we talking about fire extinguishers?
Because that's how it happens.
Because Michael's brother just sent me that picture, and that's what I thought they were being. Ow.
Oh, sorry.
It's just water.
Oh, it's
and
just
soap.
soap.
But
oh,
initially,
that's what it looks
yeah.
like, a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, that's where this all came from.
Gotcha. Jenna got a picture of a car in New York City that is covered in like a white foam. It looks like fire extinguisher, but it's actually just soap. So Jenna and Mark were having a side conversation while I was reading Wes L's message
We were
about
all listening.
fire extinguishers. So just to give everybody some insight there.
Bring it on.
So how did you guys feel? Well, I just want to say also, we now got a headphone. Last week I didn't have a headphones on. And you're right. You kept saying to me during the episode, like, bring your mic to your mouth. But I couldn't hear myself, so I didn't know. And I noticed it in the episode. My volume is like all over the place. But I got a headphone splitter that has now multiple
We could have like
jacks.
2 other people.
We could have 2 other people on here.
Henry
now
and
we
Indiana,
can
you guys
all-
want to jump in?
we can all hear each other. So how did you guys feel about the 3-person episode last week before I tell you what our listeners thought?
Hungover.
I felt fine about it because I didn't listen to it. So like the act of doing it was, I don't listen to them, but the act of doing it was fine.
Yeah. You?
I thought it was fun. I
Yeah.
had a great time.
I
thought
felt
it-
like Mark talked a little bit too much, but like
I mean, that's like me always, so.
Yes, but I think, well, I thought it was fun. I, in the moment, was like, holy shit, this is going to be an editing nightmare. And it was an editing bad dream. Not quite a nightmare, but it was a bad dream. It was not great. But I think that it was interesting, and I got a lot of feedback from listeners. So I asked for feedback specifically on our Patreon, and then I think I also posted something on our Instagram story, like, tell us what you thought. So I'm going to tell you guys what everyone thought. Are
Can't
you ready?
wait.
Yeah.
Is this like mean tweets?
We do have some mean reviews that I'm going to read.
Those are the best.
So the first person on Patreon who responded was Zeka. And this is a super honest response, and I appreciate it. He said, I'm not going to lie, this was a tough one. I really like Mark, but I also like the original format with you and Jenna. And I understand that because it was, listening to it, it's a lot to have the 3 of us. Like, the 3 of us talk. Once, when we got on a topic that we all were like, I don't know, like there are moments throughout it where like I'm laughing and you're talking and laughing and it's all happening at the same time. It is a little bit hectic.
well, should we just kick Mark off the island right now?
That was one of my favorite parts of that episode. You said, I feel like I'm going to get kicked off the island because of Mark. And I was like, well, maybe I'm going to get kicked off the island. And both of you were going to do this. And you were like, that won't be possible.
Yeah, you're the person that does everything. So does that mean I have to put my mic in the water?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were talking about
It's all-
Survivor. That's right. So, but I appreciate Zeka's honesty, and I understand that because I did listen to it, so I could see that. And honestly, I expected more people to feel that way. Like, this is too much fun once in a while, but let's keep it.
Well, maybe more people
Two
do
people.
feel that way. They're just not taking the energy to write in.
True.
It
Paula,
was a little bit crazy. Like, so, I mean, 3
but you
hours.
haven't listened to it either.
But I remember it happening. I was like,
Oh.
Jesus.
He was here.
I was right here.
Well, I'm improving with my editing skills, so I feel like it
You're amazing.
came out better than we did it. But so Paula on our, I almost said her last name. I never know if I should or not. But Paula on our Patreon said, hello, I enjoy the shows with Mark and the 2 of you. Okay, I know your names are Jenna and Margot. I just didn't know how to spell Margot. She said, I enjoyed the banter, comedic asides, and I feel like the 3 of you would be so fun to hang out with. If you're tallying results according to demographics, does my opinion count more or less because I'm a new listener? Kidding. Keep up the awesome show. And she also said, P.S. It's so beautiful where you live. Our mountains in New Hampshire are hills in comparison. Because I posted something on Patreon when I was driving, like, hey guys, I'd love to hear how you feel about the 3 of us recording or whatever.
Oh, you showed mountains.
Yeah.
The mountain range.
And Mika on Patreon said, I must be crazy or lonely because I loved it. I just want to come over with some tequila and limes and make homemade margaritas and go down all of these rabbit holes with y'all in the living/family room.
Also, you might want to do that initially, but you know.
I think that was clever. I thought that was great.
You know, someone told me that tequila wouldn't answer all my problems, but I decided to give it a shot.
Oh my God. You've got to get off the dad jokes YouTube.
That is it.
It's a lot.
Oh, that is a dad joke.
Oh my, last night you said to me, like, I don't even remember. I'm blocking it out.
They were all so funny.
You're doing a lot of dad jokes. And then Eleanor on Patreon said, I thought you guys were really funny and energetic. I love it when it's just you and Jenna, but I think this was also a great episode. She told me not to apologize. She said I apologize too much, and she thinks that's something women should get out of the habit of doing. And I appreciate this. She said the banter is something people can enjoy or fast forward through. And tonight it was entertaining and you kept a good pace. So those were our patrons who said things. We only had one Apple review about the episode with Mark. Sparkle Dew said, I really enjoyed the latest episode with Mark, Jenna, and Margot. The dynamics of the three of you made this, in my opinion, a better episode. Mark brings levity to a serious subject, and we get a masculine point of view, while Jenna asks questions which really make one think about the subject. Margot is a good balance between Mark and Jenna. I would love more of the podcast to include all of you. Thanks for giving it a try and hope to have more in the future. And
What does levity mean? I mean, I get it in the context. Like, I understand, but I want to actually know. Like, brings
means-
lightness?
Yeah, humor.
Yeah, okay.
Humor with a serious matter.
Huh.
And so some of our other reviews, I just wanted to say thank you to people. Carlin6163 on Apple said she's enjoying our banter. She grew up in the Southwest and she feels like she's hanging out with old friends. Tiff87Annie. Apple names are weird. So that's her name. She said, I adore this podcast. I love that you ladies are so relatable, and I find myself agreeing out loud about certain topics. I even like it when Mark comes in sometimes to step in. It's entertaining and all around interesting. Please don't stop. It's like a girl hangout, and I'm here for it. I may have read that one before, but I really like it. This Ali Oxy Klebe is this person's name.
You know that's a play on what?
Ali Oxenfree.
Yeah. Which is
And-
what?
Like when
A
you're
game?
playing, like tag outside as a kid, right?
Yeah.
And they say, personally, I'm a fan of the conversations and banter, but that's because it makes me feel like I'm hanging out with friends, not just being talked at by a stranger. I love this podcast. It's one of my favorites. And the title was Some Love the Banter, Some Don't.
Did you guys play that game in the family room?
No, the living room. Also, this makes me think like, God, I should have a lot more friends than I do. If everyone's just like, yeah, I want to hang out, man.
Honestly, there are so many reviews that we get that people say it feels like I'm hanging out with somebody, which I also feel that way with certain podcasts that I listen to. Like it feels like you're part of it, like you're there. And I guess that's how people feel when they listen to us, which to me is, I think, one of the highest compliments. Like I love that.
The few times I've been on this, I feel like I'm hanging out with people.
Shut up. _ Kate says, been listening since the beginning. I love it. I appreciate the sense of place as I've never been to the Southwest. The introduction sets us apart from other podcasts who jump into regurgitating facts robotically again and again. Jenna frequently has the same questions as I do, so the lookup list episodes are much appreciated. It gives the feeling of catching up with close friends. I mean, I like
We
that.
actually all hate each other, but so we're doing really well at putting it on.
But then we've also...
We're just podcasts for pay.
Yep. That'd be a good podcast name.
Podcast for pay. We've gotten some bad reviews, too.
Oh, let's hear them. I
Yeah,
can't
that's
wait.
the one.
That's the ones we want to hear.
Yep.
Alan Smith Jr. 23 titled this Z. Like
Oh, he's
sleeping.
snoring.
He said, good Lord, please just get to the episode.
Do you think maybe he had like his, like talk to text or talks to type or whatever, and he was just like zipping down his zipper, zipping it up like a jacket or something, and it caught that, and he was like, "Oh shit, I said it." I'm gonna pretend that that's what happened.
I think he thinks that we're boring and he doesn't want to hear the intro. And
Thanks, Junior.
thanks, Alan Smith Jr. That's not that mean, though. That's fine. Also, what I always want to reiterate is like there is a fast forward button. You could fast forward to the episode. Angie Shell titled this hard to listen to. If you think they get to the story quickly, think again. I forget this.
It takes quite some time, yeah.
I forget the story because they veer off. Not ideal for linear thinkers.
Oh, yeah, that's not me. So,
Pop off, Angie.
I wonder if it was like watching Jerry, that movie, where it's all.
I bet she'd like that movie. That is a pretty linear movie.
Yeah.
This one's my favorite, though. Marie M54 said, titled it, "Had to Shut It Down in Frustration." And she says, over 10 minutes of ads and inane small talk regarding weather, etc. before they got to the story. At least I think they got to it. I left after 10 minutes. Not interesting or funny.
Marie, we never got to it.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's great, though. She never even made it, again, who doesn't listen to podcasts and fast forward through stuff?
I don't typically, well, I don't know. I don't, because I only listen to podcasts when I'm driving or falling asleep sometimes. But if I'm driving, I'll try to fast forward, even though I shouldn't, through the
It's dangerous.
ads. Through the ads.
Yeah, I fast forward through the ads, and truthfully, like, I'm
They
going to
shouldn't let people do that, actually, though, right?
Well, they shouldn't, because then it would push a lot more people to Patreon
Yeah.
to put ad free. But, like, realistically, look, we don't do this to make, we're not doing it only because we want to make money. But of course, that if we could do only this and make a living doing this, that would be awesome. So unfortunately, it's not an option to not put ads in a podcast. That's how you make money. And if we had, and we're a small podcast, so if we had a bunch of host read ads, then we wouldn't have any of those kind of generic, just like announcer read ads that get inserted in there. But we don't. We maybe have one host read ad an episode. It's necessary. So Marie,
You're defending to someone who's no longer listening.
I know that's true. That's a
Don't
good point.
apologize.
And I just wanted to say, I'm not going to read this review because I'll cry. But Black Widow,
You want me to read it?
no.
Oh, because you'll still cry.
Yeah, Black Widow with like lots of W's, 85, left a very kind review. And she said, Margot. Like, she typed it like a letter. It was so nice. She said, Margot, I'm going to read the first sentence. She said, Margot, there are no words that could ever bring you the comfort you need right now. My heart hurts for you because I'm going to stop. It was
Don't
very,
cry.
very nice.
You can cry. It's her podcast.
Yeah, right. And you have like
Cry on.
And you have the
Also,
mic phone.
it's like
you
a
can-
human. I mean, any humans who have had animals, of course, every animal and their connection is different and all the things, but like it's a relatable thing, right?
I just want to say thank you. That was a very sweet message. It obviously makes me cry every time. So, and then one more thank you. We have to thank Lori, our patron, who sent us some lovely gifts. She sent us these really cute, I'm going to post a picture, these really cute,
Yeah, they're
like
awesome.
mini, what do you call those? Like temperature controlled cups?
Yeah, it's like a Yeti cup or
Yeah.
a tumbler.
Yeah.
You know?
And on
A
the
Yeti like tumbler.
Yes.
essentially.
Really, really cute. And so she sent me and Jenna these Yeti cups that we can put our drinks in when we're recording. And then she sent a bunch of candy for us to eat when we're recording.
I ate most of it before it ever came to Margot's face, but that's
And
fine.
it was just,
It was devoured.
incredibly thoughtful and super sweet. And so thank you, Lori,
Yeah, we
so
love 'em.
much. So sweet.
We'll be drinking our iced tea and water out of them.
That's right. And all right, so the only other things we have to talk about, the only really thing from the lookup list was there were some things, but I feel like we covered a lot of them. So we're going to ancient Aramaic, and I left this in. We actually, when we're talking about it in the episode, you both were like, because I was like, I've never heard that word. And you're both like, you should cut that. And I left it in. I left all of that in. I didn't cut it because, I mean, I never had heard of it. What's the big deal?
I don't know. I just
Is that something that people have common? Ancient Aramaic? Is that something that you feel like everyone knows of?
well, I don't know. It's a
Not
bit.
necessarily know about it.
No,
but
yeah,
it's
like I couldn't tell you exactly, but like yeah, I've definitely heard it. I also think the fact that I know you went to
Greece?
Hebrew school for a handful of years.
Like 6 months.
I guess you were a kid.
Yeah, it was
so.
pretty little
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking when I read like I had to read the Old Testament.
for college.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't for religious reasons.
Oh.
So I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about ancient Aramaic because I was so
fascinated.
dumb. What's what I'm looking about? Uneducated about it. I knew nothing about it.
Well, I was just surprised that you had never heard
The word. I've
right.
never heard that word. and
That's what I was
really like
surprised
it.
about.
I'm like, have you seen any of the Indiana Jones movies?
Yes, you and Michael made, well, not made, but like
I forced you to watch
you
it.
guys were, you and Michael were like having a date on the couch, and me and Jenna were in the kitchen, like eating.
Well, yeah, but
and
that means you
drinking.
didn't watch it.
I watched a little. It was the one where there's the big rolling thing, because that's the ride at Disneyland.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you sure you saw that in that that
Is that
particular
not?
movie? Well, I mean that's Indiana Jones,
No,
but I was thinking.
we were watching. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and we were watching The Last Crusade.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably
Then
that's
I'm
what you
thinking
know.
about the ride at Disneyland. I love that ride. All the spiders on the wall.
Which are almost the exact same movie, except for Sean Connery's in it, which is awesome.
Who recently died?
Jimmy Buffett.
Did you know that before I texted you?
Yeah, Fred texted me at like
Yeah.
6
5
a.m.
a.m. and he was all,
I was so
Buffett's
annoyed.
dead. We're all, no.
Of
Yeah.
skin cancer, which kind of tracks. I don't
Yeah,
know
his
if that
mood's
track
going,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, parrot heads.
That why are they called Paradise? Because Margaritaville.
Well, that's his like whole deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Cheeseburger
Margarita.
in paradise.
like people like, like Lady Gaga. They're like monsters or whatever
Yeah.
it is. It's not like but it's parrot heads. Have you ever been to a Jimmy Buffett concert?
No.
It is fucking awesome.
It was fun.
It's
And
like
it wasn't
so
my.
fucking
I
dope.
didn't know I liked Jimmy Buffett. Yeah. Who
I-
also can get famous and make a song named Cheeseburger in Paradise. That's pretty cool.
I love that.
And also,
name.
it's like it's such a great experience because of all ages. It's young,
Yep.
old, whatever, and everybody's drunk, and you don't see like there's no like fights or anything like that. It was just like a really cool concert, and they
Everybody's just happy and
you're in the
loving each
parking
other.
lot before it happens, and they're just driving around in golf carts with Margaritaville margarita, and they're like,
Cool.
"Let's fill up your booze," you
They're
know.
wearing tropical shirts and people have parrots on their heads.
fun. Well, I guess I'm never gonna get the chance now.
Well, yeah, no,
No,
your
you're
chance
not.
is over.
It's over now.
Okay, so ancient Aramaic. I mean, obviously, you guys have heard of it, and you know all this. It emerged in what is now modern day Syria. It's part of the Northwest Semitic branch of the Semitic language family, which also includes Hebrew and Phoenician. It was originally spoken by a very small group of people, but spread as the Assyrian Empire expanded. It has profound influences on other languages in the region, including Hebrew and Arabic. Many Jewish texts from the Second Temple period, including parts of the Old Testament, were written in Aramaic, which obviously Jenna knew.
Hebrew school.
It began to decline with the rise of other
Hebrew's cool. Hebrew's cool. Let's title Hebrew's cool.
We will do that. It began to decline with the rise of other empires and languages such as Greek and Latin, but it was spoken in some languages still, and modern Aramaic dialects known as Neo-Aramaic or Eastern Neo-Aramaic are still spoken in some communities, primarily in the Middle East. That's it.
Did
That's
we
all I
narrow
got.
down the Dead Sea Scrolls like I did?
I mean,
No, it's on your phone.
Well, what language was written on the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Oh, I know.
oh,
It was-
that's right. You said that
It's
when
prim-
we were talking about it.
Yeah, it was primarily Hebrew, and then Aramaic and Greek.
What are the Dead Sea Scrolls?
They're very old scrolls they found in a cave, and it has like writings.
It's kind of like-
it's all real patchy.
But is it like the Torah?
That's what I was gonna say. That's where my mind goes, but I don't know. Those
It's
are
not part
also
of the-
just
Torah?
scrolls.
No,
So
the like for like in like Judaism, like when we would go to temple, like the rabbi would read from the Torah.
They're all
It's like the Bible, but for Jewish people. But it's scrolls. You like unroll it. It literally is.
no, the Bible for Jewish people is the Old Testament.
Okay, then what's the Torah?
Okay, well now I'm going to tell you about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, yeah, I think so. The Dead Sea Scrolls are ancient Jewish religious manuscripts discovered between 1946 and 56 in the Qumran caves. I said it
Wow.
wrong. Near the Dead Sea. Yeah, so I think it's different than the.
Torah.
Yeah, I don't know.
it's
So-
all very, like I said, it's very partial.
Like,
and,
you know, when-
parts and
You know when you went to church as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
like the preacher,
yeah, they're a preacher.
priest.
Well, it depends on what sect of Christianity, you had a preacher? Because there's
Yeah.
also
Minister.
Catholicism. Catholicism is a
It's a priest.
It's a priest.
What's Christian?
It's like a preacher. They say more of like a preacher.
Okay. So when your person was standing up there, they opened like a Bible. I mean,
Yeah, they
boring. When we went to temple, our rabbi would take out of like this thing behind him, he would like open up this like magic cabinet, and I can't do it with the microphone in front of me, but like it was like this big.
They can't see you, by the way.
I know, I'm telling you though.
Oh.
And it was like scrolled up like a scroll, and he would like unroll it and read from that.
It
when
was
he
a
gave his
big
sermon.
scroll.
It was a big
Yeah.
scroll.
It's kind of dramatic, you know?
I know. I liked it though. But
That
what
was-
you know what you said to remember you said to me last night, we were talking about Judaism, and you said that you think, like, when you think of Judaism, you think of the saying, do unto others as you would have done unto yourself.
like an eye for an eye.
Yeah. Oh no. Like
Well, an eye for an eye is more of like a vengeful thing.
It's
It's
a
Oh,
little
like,
bit
treat
more-
yourself or
If you-
treat
others,
others as
yeah.
you want to be treated. Why do
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
of Judaism with that?
I think that's right though. Like I remember that being
I'm
taught
not saying
that.
it's wrong. I'm asking why you think
well, I mean,
that.
that's part of
That's
like
true.
the
Good question.
10 Commandments, like in the Christian
But
religion.
why do you think it, answer her question?
Well, because
you-
I think the reason doing to others, because I think like just Jewish culture in itself, I feel like it's a very forgiving religion. Like they actually really practice that. Like, you know,
I agree.
no offense to anybody else or anything like that, but you don't see it a lot. Like,
Yeah. I agree. Do you have something to tell us about the Torah?
Yeah, the Dead Sea Scrolls are different than the Torah. That's
Oh.
let's not get into it because it's a deep hole, but
Okay.
it's separate.
Got it. Okay.
the deep blue hole
A deep blue hole. That's right.
in Belize.
Yeah.
Better believe it.
You better believe it.
I
So
don't
peop-
believe it.
Unbelievable. People are going to get so annoyed with this. Mark and I are going to Belize in November, and I guess that's it. That's all.
That'll be fun.
I don't know what else to say about it. I'm excited. I have not been. I realize that I realize I have not been out of the country since me and Jenna went to Greece, which was 15 years ago. 12.
I don't know.
I'm not willing to say exactly, but around that long
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've been on like a vacation probably for 6 or 7 years. So I'm super pumped. And if anybody's been to Belize and knows anything about it, please let us know. We would love
Only
to-
good things though at
Yeah,
this point.
Yeah, please
right?
don't tell us
Don't
bad
say
things.
all the bad shit.
Right.
and
right.
we all know about Belize City. We read enough. No one likes
Yeah,
it
that's
that
true.
much.
It's funny. Brandon called me. He's been to
I
Belize.
don't know about Belize City.
Well, I didn't either, but he called and he
Is it
said
like Mexico City?
he said you're gonna hate it because there's so many homeless animals.
Well, I already told you that.
Right. Yeah, I know. So that's fine. We're gonna just stay
I don't
there.
think. Oh, Belize City has
Like
so
where we
many
fly-
homeless.
yeah.
Well, and that's like a city, so it's one thing to see wandering beach dogs,
Exactly.
but it's
exactly.
another to see. Yeah. Well, you know what you should have told Brandon?
What?
I lived in Thessaloniki for a year, where
Oh
there
my
were
God, packs
endless
of dogs.
in the winter.
These dogs would travel in packs, and they learned how. I don't know if they learned or whatever, but like they would literally sit and wait at the crosswalk and cross the street with people. An entire pack of dogs. It was mind blowing and very sad.
Mark looks like his mind is blown.
Do you remember that?
They're undog housed.
Do you remember that I had a cat? I found
Yeah,
a
that
cat.
died in the litter box.
I found a cat.
Whoa,
a
that's a little
kitten.
heavy.
I found a kitten. It was raining. I found a kitten in like the bottom of the apartment where we lived in a doorway. I was like, oh my God, I have to take it. And I took it and found somehow, I don't even remember, found a litter box, got a litter box
They
and
have
shit.
pets. You probably went to the pet,
Pet
store.
and took care of it for days. And then one day it just died in its litter box.
Well, at least I had a good last.
We
few
got
days.
a little. I did at least got a little, not desensitized, but like just had to handle it. Like that cat that got.
Remember
It's
your cats
full of-
in Rhodes?
Yeah, it got the tire
Mimi?
track.
I didn't look. I didn't see it. I know
did.
you did. I didn't see it. Mimi and
I can't remember, but they used to sleep with me. Yeah, and Berry Bear.
yeah, when me and Jenna lived on this island in Greece, in the island of Rhodes, like we slept. We were on the first floor of this house. We shared a room, and we would open the doors, and these cats would just kind of like wander up and wander in. And so we named them Mimi and something. Mimi was the gray and white one, and there's another, and they would like sleep in the bed with us and stuff. We feed them and like loved
These are
them.
feral cats.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were like teenage cats. Not that is different than like.
So they were like rebellious and like smoking cigarettes and shit.
Yeah, you could just tell they were like teenage boys and girl cats.
Yeah.
And
like
then
when Mimi left, she's all "fuck you." I fucking love him.
yeah, and
all
then she
kinds
ran
of-
into the road and got hit
Yeah.
and ran over, and her full head was just one.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I didn't know. Like, I didn't ever see that, but they did both eventually get
I dealt with it.
hit. Yeah, there was a lot of homeless animals, and it was on the island when we were in Rhodes, like in Saroni, like it was okay. It was a small town. There's not that many cars. There's not like a highway. Like it was sad, but they were going to be okay.
It's different.
Until they weren't.
Until they weren't, I guess.
But what's
yeah.
also it's interesting is like, you know, a cat, like a feral cat. It's like, what's a feral cat? Like every cat's a feral cat, even house cats.
Well, no,
Well,
they
no.
are domesticated cats
Well,
once they come
right.
home and
Yeah,
don't
but, like,
live on the streets.
Cats like domesticated themselves. They're like, hey, you got a mouse problem? You want to feed
Yeah.
me? Let's do this. But
Yeah.
you know, like cats are extremely
Cats are
independent
of the
compared to
domesticated
dogs.
animals. I think they sustain the most percentage of feralness.
Independence.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we were. We took a break to go to the bathroom and let the dogs out, and we are back now. So I can't remember where we were, and it's impossible for me to find out. And since this is a bonus episode, I think that's okay. And so the only really things I have left is I looked on our megaphone, which is where we publish the podcast, to see where the geolocation of our listeners are.
That's exactly what we were talking about.
Oh, is it? Okay. So obviously the 93% are in the United States, but we do have over 1,000 listeners in Canada.
How about that?
Is that Alaska over there too? Or is that not Alaska?
Alaska is considered part of the United States.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
But is that the highlighted spot up there that I
That
can
is
see?
Alaska.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. U.S. And then
You had to remind me again, Alaska is part of the U.S.
That's part of the U.S.
And then next we have about 500 listeners in Australia, about 400 in the UK, and then we have some in Sweden, Germany, New Zealand, Netherlands, France, and Ireland. Which is interesting. You know what's funny? Because I've looked at the charts. Like you can look at like what charts are you hitting in Apple Podcasts, and we have made the Israel True Crime in Israel chart. We've charted, which is like means you're in the top 100 basically, and somewhere else I can't remember. But
You should I don't know if when you post stuff on Instagram, like today's, you should. I don't really know.
ask people where they are.
Well, no, but sure. I was going to say
Okay.
just like hashtag Greece because we talk a bit about being in Greece or
Totally.
Thessaloniki.
Yep. We also have a listener, Lindsay, messaged on Instagram, and she said, "Hi, I'm from New Zealand, and I love listening to you both. Usually while I'm driving my 90-minute round trip, I'm assuming commute." She said, I'm listening to Toy Box currently, and I like the look up lists. Keep it up. And then I responded, and then she sent me really cute pictures of her dog and beautiful pictures of New Zealand. It looks amazing. So I think it's really cool that there are people like in other parts of the world listening to us.
Jenna, did you go back to Israel for
Did I go back? I went.
like?
I went.
It's the thing, right?
Birthright, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how long do you go back for that? Like,
It's 10 days, but I stayed longer.
but they like pay for everything. They like bring
They
you
do.
in.
I just had to get myself, for the 10 days, they pay for everything. I just had to get myself to New York because that's where the group met.
That's
So
dope. That's the
cool.
cool part.
Yeah,
So cool.
It was.
That birthright, we're talking about birthright trip if you're Jewish and you do it before you're 26 years old.
I think it's 27, but yeah.
Yeah, you can go visit Israel for free.
And you do have to, it's not just like someone can be like, oh, I'm a Jew. I can't recall how I proved it, but like obviously my birth certificate, something about mom, something because,
Well, we're not 100% Jewish.
well, yes, we are because our mother's Jewish. So in the Jewish tradition, as long as your mother's Jewish, you are.
Oh, God.
And I think it did because when I landed in Tel Aviv, I remember they were looking at my passport and something. It was like a bit more challenging. They asked me some questions, I guess.
Well, because our dad, well, maybe this had nothing to do, but like dad's last name wasn't Jewish because dad wasn't Jewish.
Right, but actually, I know
It is actually kind of a
our name.
Yes, dad's name. So our family name was Schneider, which was dad's dad. Right?
Yeah, it
Which
means
is
Taylor in German. But
Right.
I also think
It's often a Jewish
Right,
name,
yeah.
which is interesting because
it
he
just
wasn't
isn't
Jewish.
in our case.
Right. He was Italian Catholic, and I think his dad wasn't actually. I think his dad was Irish, and it's Yaya who is Italian, and her last name was Graziano. So like that's where the Italian part comes from. So I don't know
I
why.
thought we were talking about Jew though. Where, like,
Is there like an Italy thing where you can go back there too?
Oh, that'd be so cool. You know what me and Mark were talking about the other night is remember, I don't know if it's still happening. I'd love to know. But for a period of time during COVID, Italy, the country, I don't know who exactly, but the country, I guess, was like offering like, you can move here, buy a house for $1. Like
I didn't hear that.
buy like a villa that maybe needs some fixing up because the tourism went so down that there were towns that were kind of like vacant and like
Yeah, like smaller towns. I've seen other things in
yeah,
different parts of Europe.
and so
and
they like
where
made this thing. There was a whole TV show about it that like you can move to Italy to one of these smaller towns, buy a villa for $1 as long as you agree to stay there for a year or 2
Yeah,
years.
because they
or
know you'd
something.
buy
you buy
stuff.
things. You'll
Can I
get
buy like
family
the whole
going there.
town? Because Italy is a very, very attractive country.
Whoa, you really felt strongly about that.
I've never heard
Says
very
the guy
attractive,
who's never been.
You're saying that because I said very, very attractive.
on the
about that.
episode like 97 times.
That's
I
right.
just thought of Under the Tuscan Sun.
With
You know
Diane Lane. That's a book that Mom loved.
Oh, I was thinking the movie, but obviously Diane
Yeah.
Lane.
It's Diane Lane. Who's the guy in Richard Gere?
No, that is her husband in the other really good
With
Diane
Viggo
Lane.
Nobody
Nobody looks
Definitely
like that.
not.
He kind of looks reminiscent. The guy she has the affair with.
Right.
Very hot affair.
Right.
Yeah.
Very, very attractive.
What,
Very, very attractive
what is
affair.
that? I know that movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's called Unfaithful,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Good memory. Very
mean-
good memory. I think that's basically all we have. I wanted to share. I feel like it's nice to recommend other podcasts because if you listen to podcasts, maybe you'll like these podcasts. So I've listened to a few podcasts lately. And me and Jenna and I have both listened to these. We listened to the New York Times podcast, The Girlfriends. You just listened to that recently.
I did on the airplane. Yeah, it was so good.
So good. Really, really interesting. I thought it was really well done. It's true crime. It's true crime. I
Vegas
guess.
in the 80s, right?
It was, yes.
Ish, 80s, 90s?
Yeah.
Ish?
Vegas and New York.
And New York, yeah.
Yeah. It was very interesting and definitely falls into the true crime.
Lots of drugs and hookers and mob kind of business.
Lots of drugs.
I mean, there were hookers there, but
Not in this podcast so much.
Right.
It's a very interesting
Doctors.
podcast, and I started it and I thought, I don't think I like it. And then by the end of the first episode, I was like, no, I like it, and then I stuck with it. And it was really good. Scamanda is, I think, very popular, so I'm sure a lot of people have listened to it. You said you listened to it a long time ago.
I did.
Yeah, I just recently listened to all of it.
I forget what it's about, but I know I liked it.
It's
When you sent it
about-
to me, I could see the cover, and I knew I had seen it.
It's
Or
about, it
listened
takes
to.
place like back like when, like maybe in the 90s, early 2000s when blogging was big. And this woman, Amanda, starts blogging about that she just found out she has cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. And she's talking about she's recently married. They're hoping to have kids, but she has cancer.
Oh.
And she starts blogging about it, and people her blog takes off, and people begin following her cancer journey, and they're like so concerned with her. They feel like they know
I
her.
feel
and
like
they
she's
start
gonna.
donating.
You're gonna give a
and
spoiler,
donating.
aren't you?
I'm not going to.
Okay. I mean,
There is a big twist.
Oh, you told me about this.
Yes, it is
And I was,
fascinating.
I'm interested. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's really quite good.
also, I feel like don't the listeners know the twist right now?
Maybe, but I would
Well, it
feel
doesn't
bad
matter,
if I
yeah.
said it.
We don't know.
It's quite good. I would recommend it. And then I also recently.
you can get away with anything. You just say spoiler alert and then blurt out whatever you want.
Oh, should I do that right now?
No.
Okay. And then I also listened to a podcast called Over My Dead Body, and there's 4 seasons. Each season covers a different murder. And I just recently listened to the 4th season, which in my opinion is the best. It's about a murder. It takes place in like the Florida, like
Everglades?
yes, like the Everglades. It's
You know, there's manatees down there.
there are.
You know what's even doper than that? Fan boats.
Oh yeah.
I want to get into one of those. so
John
bad.
rode. Our dad rode one of those. We have a picture of him on it.
Such a cool thing, you know?
Yeah, they do fan boat tours down in Florida.
I'd prefer to get my own one.
Yeah,
Rent
like a
one.
personal.
I don't want to go on a
personal
tour.
FB.
Okay,
An
well, we
FB.
can do that, guys.
Down in St. Pete. Is that
Yeah,
no?
St. Pete. Yeah, no, St. Pete is on the west side of Florida, about halfway down. It's north of my favorite place, one of my favorite places in Florida, Naples. And then my other favorite place in Florida is St. Augustine. It's on the other side of Florida, on the east side up to the north, and it's great. I'm a big fan of Florida.
You know who lives in St. Pete, which apparently a lot of people call it St. Pete's,
Oh, yeah.
which I guess is not right. I don't know. I've never
Or
been.
St. Pete, I've heard. I've been there. I don't know.
What's growing on?
Oh,
What?
that dude.
Pete Canaris.
Oh.
What's growing on?
What's growing on? That's right. That's Jenna's favorite YouTube guy.
Well, one of them.
Ooh. It's a tough...
I've
with
got 3.
Pete Canaris of What's Growing On, Green Dreams, and Mark Wiens, food blogger or vlogger.
Mm-hmm.
And
If it's not spicy, not eating.
right, and then your third one is the Russian guy.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, he's not?
Yeah.
The mosaic guy?
Then who is your third?
No, that is the third. It's just been a while.
Okay.
They haven't seen each other.
The
in a
bald
while.
and bankrupt. Bald and bankrupt.
Bald and big. And what's Mark Wiens' channel called?
Something canology.
Just look up Mark Wiens. You'll find.
Yeah, I
him.
mean he's
Yeah,
huge.
look up Mark Wiens. And
It's like
Wow.
foodology or something.
And
Wow.
then Pete Canaris, his is Green
Green
Dreams. Yeah. So those are some of Jenna's
Wow,
favorite
we really
YouTubes.
we
Shout
went from
out.
podcast to YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's it, guys. I think we're going to sign off because this is already quite a long bonus. And thank you to everyone for listening. Thank you for leaving your Apple reviews. Thank you for joining our Patreon. I think we're actually going to, upon Mark and my dad's recommendation, we're going to add a tier to our Patreon that's $2, and it will be just all the episodes ad free. So I will be doing that this week. And then, of course, there's the other tier, which is everything else on our Patreon. And we love all of our patrons. We love all of our listeners. Leave us a review. Follow us on Instagram. Send us a message on our website. And thank you guys for listening. We'll be back with part 2 of the episode 30. It'll be episode 37, but part 2 of From Porn to the Penitentiary on Tuesday.
Very attractive episode.
Very, very attractive. What are we calling this one? Oh, Hebrew's cool. Or,
Was that it?
Because I said Hebrew school and you said Hebrew's cool.
oh,
No, I-
you said Hebrew school?
But it sounds like Hebrew's cool.
Oh, I totally thought you just not out of nowhere, but I thought you just said like when we were
Hebrew
talking.
is cool.
Yeah. Oh wow, I missed
It's kind
that.
of funny though.
That's what we're calling it. So thank you guys for listening. We will see you on Tuesday.
Hebrew's cool.
Bye.
Later.